Have you ever held something so small that it seemed completely ordinary? Something you might forget in the depths of your coat pocket, under a pile of change or a receipt, and yet that very object contained the power to change everything? Not in some grand, cinematic way, but quietly, subtly, like a seed. One that, when planted with awareness and nurtured with intention, has the potential to reshape your future in profound ways. That is the journey I want to take you on today. But first, if you find value in this kind of content, I have a small request. Before we go deeper, would you consider offering a simple gesture of support? A like, a share, or a subscribe to this channel helps me reach our first milestone of 1,000 followers. It allows me to continue sharing this work with more people and with greater depth and intention. Thank you for being here, and thank you for walking this path with me. I'm not here to sell you fantasy. I'm not here to pitch you the latest trend in the wellness industry or offer you some diluted version of the law of attraction that promises the world but leaves you disillusioned. No, what I'm about to share with you has nothing to do with wishful thinking and everything to do with the deep-rooted, spiritually grounded traditions that have guided generations of seekers long before self-help was a genre. Today, we'll explore the real tested wisdom behind 3 simple objects that you can carry with you. Objects that, when paired with right intention, sacred mindfulness, and a deep connection to ancestral energy, become far more than items. They become tools, anchors, protectors, portals. These 3 sacred objects are garlic, cloves, and a key. Yes, you heard that right. Not gemstones, not talismans forged in gold, not any esoteric object hidden behind a paywall or mystery school. Just a clove of garlic, a handful of cloves, a simple key. But here's the thing, their simplicity is their power. And within that simplicity lies the same spiritual intelligence that built temples, sustained monks, guided healers, and protected the energy of those who walk the razor's edge between this world and the sacred. You see, I believe we live in an age that has forgotten how to feel sacredness in the everyday. We scroll past our own potential. We fast forward through presence. We seek enormous transformations without ever pausing to notice the whispers already speaking to us. And that's why I began this channel. I created New Day Mindfulness because I felt, deep in my bones, a longing to contribute to something bigger than myself. Not just to talk about Buddhism or mindfulness as theory, but to live and share practical applications that help you protect your peace, sharpen your purpose, and rise into your power. Not for the sake of ego, but because I've seen what happens when people feel connected again, when we align with ancient truth, when we no longer walk through the world as if we're constantly surviving, but as if we're intentionally co-creating our experience. And so today, I ask for your attention, not as a viewer, but as a traveler. Because what we're about to explore is not entertainment, it's initiation. An invitation to remember that spiritual protection is not a superstition, but a sacred responsibility. That wealth is not just about money, but about energetic receptivity. That opportunity is not random, but drawn to the minds that prepare space for it. And most importantly, that you already carry everything you need to begin this transformation, quite literally in your own pocket. So if you feel the pull, the quiet yes within you, subscribe to this channel, click the bell so you never miss a teaching, and share this message with someone who could use a little light today. Because what we're building here at New Day Mindfulness isn't just another channel, it's a sanctuary, a digital temple for modern seekers, a space where ancient wisdom meets practical action. Now take a deep breath, check your pocket, let's begin. Section 1, garlic, the ancient shield against negativity. Garlic, a kitchen staple, a pungent bulb tossed into stir-fries and soups, spread across toast, or crushed into dressings. Most people think of it as flavor, or maybe as nature's antibiotic, but few realize that garlic is also one of the oldest spiritual protectors in the world. Across Buddhist cultures and throughout much of East Asia, garlic has long held a place not just in the pantry, but in the realm of the sacred. In Tibetan monasteries, in traditional Chinese households, in rural Japanese shrines, and in the mindful rituals of everyday life, Garlic has symbolized something deeper than health. It's been seen as a shield, a silent warrior against the unseen forces that weigh on our spirit: jealousy, resentment, ill intent, and ambient negativity. To dismiss this as superstition would be to miss a vital truth: that across time and place, human beings have recognized the need to protect not just their bodies, but their energy. And garlic, in its simplicity and sharpness, has served as a guardian. Garlic is not just garlic, it's a reminder that protection doesn't need to be loud, heavy, or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, and deeply wise. The symbolism of garlic in Buddhist and East Asian cultures. In ancient Buddhist households, especially in Japan, garlic was often hung at the entryway, not merely as a folk custom, but as a form of energy hygiene. Much like the way incense is burned to cleanse a space, garlic was believed to absorb the negative vibrations that entered with people's footsteps, with their mood, with their unspoken envy. Though garlic is not directly listed in the Buddhist scriptures as a holy object, its symbolic and functional presence is rooted in the principle of purification, both of body and mind. In Ayurvedic and Tibetan medicine, garlic is viewed as a warming, circulatory boosting herb. It breaks stagnation. And where there is stagnation, there is often suffering, physical or emotional. In Chinese Buddhism, especially among lay people in rural villages, it was common to place garlic in the kitchen, not just to flavor the food, but to protect the home. The kitchen, seen as a center of nourishment, was also symbolic of abundance. To protect this sacred space meant guarding one's prosperity. In Japan, the traditional Buddhist saying "Mamori Shori" refers to any object that protects. And over the years, garlic cloves wrapped in silk or carried in wooden pouches were used as one such mamori, particularly by farmers, pregnant women, and those traveling long distances. It wasn't magic, it was mindfulness through matter, an intention anchored in the tangible. Even today, you'll find garlic braids hanging discreetly in Japanese homes, not for cuisine, but for comfort. Garlic as an energetic filter, a spiritual technology. Now let's go a step deeper. Modern energy medicine and quantum consciousness practitioners often speak of auric fields, or the energetic bubble that surrounds and permeates our physical body. While science is still catching up to this idea, we know from thousands of years of human observation that we pick up energy from others, and we often carry what doesn't belong to us. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt heavy, anxious, or drained, even if no one said anything? Or spent time with someone who left you feeling inexplicably tired afterward? That's not just emotion, that's energetic imprinting. Garlic, in many Eastern traditions, is thought to act like a natural filter for these energies. Think of it as spiritual charcoal, absorbing, neutralizing, and transforming negativity into neutral or even nourishing energy. Some energetic practitioners claim garlic emits a subtle vibration that creates a kind of protective noise around the energy field, making it harder for others' negativity or malice to penetrate. It's not that garlic is inherently magical. It's that garlic symbolizes an active form of resistance against energy we didn't consent to receive. In Buddhist terms, garlic reminds us of the power of right awareness, to know what we're letting in and what we're keeping out. A story from the mountains of Nagano. Let me tell you a story that has stayed with me for years. In the rural highlands of Nagano Prefecture in central Japan, there once lived a young rice farmer named Kenji. He was the youngest of 5 brothers and had inherited a patch of land from his grandfather. Kenji had a natural gift for the land. His rice grew thick, golden, and twice as fast as the others in the village. But his success came with a kida. Whispers started, people said he used chemicals, that he was paying for spiritual favors, that he must have done something dishonorable to gain favor with the gods of the land. At first, Kenji tried to ignore it, but over time, the tension in the village grew. Neighbors stopped visiting. One morning, he found his rice field trampled. Another day, he found his water line sabotaged. One night, exhausted and overwhelmed, Kenji went to visit his grandmother, who lived at the edge of the forest near the shrine. She listened to him quietly. Then she went into her cupboard and pulled out a small silk pouch. Inside was a single clove of garlic. "Keep this on you," she said, "not because it will solve everything, but because it will remind you not to let their bitterness enter your heart." Kenji didn't understand, but out of love and desperation, he obeyed. He tied the pouch to his belt and wore it every day. Over the weeks, the hostility seemed to lessen, but more than that, something changed inside him. He no longer carried resentment. He focused on his land, his prayers, his peace. One spring day, the eldest elder in the village came to him and said, "You've kept your integrity. The others have seen it. You are young, but you are wise." Years later, Kenji would tell his own children that the garlic wasn't the magic. It was the decision he made every morning when he touched it. Today, I choose peace, modern practice. How to use garlic as a mindfulness tool. In today's fast-paced, overstimulated world, you might be wondering, how can I use garlic in a meaningful way without feeling silly? The answer lies in your intention. Here are 4 powerful ways to incorporate garlic into your spiritual and mindfulness routine, anchored in real, tangible practices. 1. Garlic meditation for protection. Choose a quiet space. Sit comfortably with a single clove of garlic in your hand. Close your eyes and imagine the garlic glowing with white light. Breathe deeply. With every exhale, imagine negativity leaving your body. With every inhale, imagine the garlic pulling in peace, filtering your field. Speak softly. May this moment be clear. May I be protected. May I release what is not mine. You can do this for just 3 minutes before you leave the house or enter a stressful environment. 2. Pocket talisman practice. Carry a fresh clove of garlic in a cloth pouch or in a discreet corner of your bag or coat. Whenever you feel overwhelmed or energetically off, pause, touch the garlic, and take one conscious breath. If the garlic becomes discolored or too dry, replace it. Symbolically, this acknowledges that it has done its job of absorbing what's no longer yours to carry. 3. Garlic in the home place. A clove of garlic near your front door or at the corner of your kitchen. This practice is not about superstition. It's about creating energetic intention in your space. You are signaling to your subconscious, this is a space of nourishment and safety. Negativity is not welcome here. 4. Garlic and affirmations. Combine your garlic practice with daily affirmations. I am shielded from what does not serve me. I walk in clarity and peace. My energy is my responsibility, and I protect it wisely. Why does this matter? Because in a world where we are constantly reacting, garlic gives us a way to respond, to come back to our breath, to honor our boundaries, to remember that even in small, everyday objects, we can find practices that return us to our power. The deeper lesson, belief, intention, and the power of small acts. Let's be honest, there's nothing inherently mystical about garlic. It's not a miracle. It won't solve all your problems. It won't stop other people from being toxic, but it does offer you something invaluable, a choice. The choice to remember, the choice to breathe, the choice to return to presence. And in Buddhist thought, that is everything. We don't transform the world through grand gestures. We change reality by changing how we show up in it. That garlic clove, it's a mindfulness bell you carry in your pocket. It rings not through sound, but through remembrance. The truth is, we are already surrounded by tools that can change our state of being. The issue is not the lack of power, but the lack of awareness. When we reclaim our rituals, even the smallest ones, we reclaim our life. Final thought for this section. So tomorrow morning when you reach for your wallet or your keys, consider placing a small clove of garlic in your pocket, not because you expect it to work magic, but because you're choosing to make your energy sacred again. Because intention is power, and the most powerful thing you can carry with you isn't luck, it's consciousness. Are you ready to carry yours? Section 2, cloves, attracting wealth and opportunities. If garlic is the shield, then cloves are the magnet. Where garlic protects, cloves attract. Where garlic creates energetic boundaries, cloves open energetic channels. This is the natural duality we see across all spiritual traditions. The sacred balance between yin and yang, between holding firm and opening wide, between saying no to what drains us and saying yes to what enriches us. In many cultures across Asia, especially in Buddhist-influenced trade communities of India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Myanmar, Cloves have long been held not only as a spice of culinary value, but as symbols of prosperity, spiritual fragrance, and sacred invitation. Even the very scent of cloves, deep, rich, and slightly sweet, awakens something ancient in us. It stirs a kind of quiet knowing, as if the body understands long before the mind catches up. This is not just flavor. This is a vibration. But why cloves? Why would something so small, so seemingly insignificant, become a tool for attracting abundance? Let's trace it back. Cloves as sacred offering in Buddhist lineages. In ancient Indian Buddhism, particularly during the time of Emperor Ashoka's reign, cloves were used as offerings in temples, placed at the feet of Buddha statues not just for scent, but to symbolize the refinement of desire. Unlike flowers, which wilt, or incense, which burns quickly, cloves represented lasting sweetness, something earned, not given. In Sri Lanka's coastal temples, merchants returning from sea voyages would offer cloves to bodhisattva shrines as a gesture of gratitude for protection and good fortune. In their worldview, giving a clove wasn't about the value of the item itself, it was about the energetic imprint. I give sweetness to the universe, and I trust it will return in kind. That's where the connection to prosperity begins. It's not about money per se, it's about relationship with energy, particularly the energy of generosity, flow, and faith. Cloves are, in Buddhist symbolic language, a fragrance that calls blessings to you, a whisper that says, I am ready to receive. The 7-clove ritual, a modern adaptation. One of the most simple yet powerful modern practices I teach is based on this ancestral understanding, the 7-clove ritual. Here's how it works. Each morning or on a day when you feel particularly stuck, you take 7 whole cloves and place them in your left hand. Why 7? In many Buddhist-influenced traditions, 7 represents completeness in spiritual alignment. 7 chakras, 7 days of the week, 7 factors of enlightenment. You hold the cloves gently, close your eyes, and repeat the affirmation. I attract infinite wealth and aligned opportunities. You say it 3 times, slowly, meaningfully. And then, without analyzing or doubting, you place the cloves in your left pocket. This may seem like nothing, but when done with clarity and presence, this practice serves as a psychological anchor. You are carrying an energetic declaration with you throughout the day. Each time you touch your pocket, each time you sit or walk or reach into your bag, you are subconsciously reminded, I am attracting wealth, I am aligned. The left side of the body is traditionally associated with receiving, and what you keep close to your receiving side begins to color your posture, your tone, your openness to possibility. Some may call this superstition, but neuroscience would call it a form of auto-suggestion, a way of imprinting your subconscious with a chosen reality. And in Buddhism, we'd simply say, it is mindfulness in motion. A real-life story, the baker and the cloves. Let me tell you a true story. In the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, there lives a woman named Liana. She runs a modest home bakery, crafting traditional pandan cakes and sweet rice treats for her neighborhood. When I first met her, Liana was exhausted. Her orders were declining. The cost of ingredients had gone up. She was considering closing shop. Worse, she had begun to internalize a belief many small business owners secretly carry. Maybe I'm just not meant to succeed. I shared with her the 7-clove practice, paired with nightly gratitude rituals. Nothing elaborate, just this. Each night she would take one of the cloves she carried and hold it in her palm before bed. She'd reflect on a single moment from the day she was grateful for. Even if it was tiny, a returning customer, a smile from her daughter, a perfect batch of kaya jam. Then she'd whisper, I give thanks. I opened further. At first, nothing changed, but over time, her energy shifted. She began baking with more intention. Her mood softened. She posted more often on social media, not from desperation, but from joy. Orders began trickling back in, then doubling, then more. A few months later, she called me and said something I'll never forget. I thought I needed to fix the world outside, but it was my energy that needed to open. This is what cloves teach us. Not to chase, but to attune. Cloves as anchors of worthiness. One of the deepest wounds I see in people struggling with abundance is a hidden sense of unworthiness. They say, I wanted to be wealthy, but their body says, I don't deserve it. They say, I want opportunities, but their energy says, I won't know how to handle them. Here's the truth. You cannot attract what you secretly resent. You cannot hold what you do not feel worthy of. Cloves help shift this, because when you take the time each day to hold something sacred, to declare your worthiness, to create a consistent energetic ritual, you are training your nervous system to say, yes, I am ready. It's not about the clove. It's about the conversation you're having with the universe through the clove. You are saying through action, I believe small steps matter. I believe intention carries energy. I believe I am allowed to ask and receive. The energy of gratitude, a Buddhist alignment. In Buddhism, gratitude is not a side dish to life. It is the very flavor of liberation. We find this in the teachings of the merchant disciple Sudatta, also known as Anathapindika. He was one of the Buddha's greatest supporters, not just because of his wealth, but because of his generosity. He offered food, shelter, even land for monasteries. But what made him spiritually wealthy was not his money. It was his constant gratitude. Once, when facing a financial shortfall during the construction of a monastery, Sudatta did not panic. He meditated, he trusted, he gave more. And through a series of seemingly miraculous events, the resources arrived. In his story, we see the true nature of wealth. It's not about accumulation, it's about energetic circulation. Gratitude keeps energy moving, and when you pair gratitude with a symbolic object like a clove, you make that energy visible, tactile, memorable. Nighttime clove practice, deepening the connection. Here's a way to take the clove ritual even further. Each night before bed, take one of the cloves from your pocket, hold it in both hands, let your shoulders drop, let your mind slow, then say aloud, thank you for everything that flowed to me today, seen and unseen. I am open to even more tomorrow. If nothing came today, say it anyway. Because you are not just thanking what is, you are thanking what is on its way. Gratitude, when expressed preemptively, is the highest form of faith. And in Buddhism, faith, sada, is a pillar of awakening, not because it creates dependency, but because it softens resistance. Using cloves in your space. You can also place cloves around your home or workspace to anchor energy. A clove in your wallet equals abundance invitation. A clove near your laptop equals clarity and opportunity. A clove near the door is energetic welcome. Each placement becomes a statement. This space is aligned with wealth. I am aligned with wealth. Energetic feng shui, maybe, but also subtle self-training. You're shaping the atmosphere that shapes you. A subtle but powerful shift. I've seen it over and over. People start with one clove in their pocket. They begin to speak more confidently. They apply for jobs they wouldn't have dared to. They start charging what they're worth. They open new business ideas. They soften their posture. They stop apologizing for wanting more. And here's the quiet secret. It's not that the cloves made these changes happen. It's that the cloves became a bridge between thought and action, between wish and willingness. The cloves whispered, yes, you may receive. And they listened. Final insight. Energy follows attention. There's a line in the Dhammapada that says, with our thoughts, we make the world. But more than just our thoughts, our focused attention shapes the reality we step into. Carrying cloves is not about control. It's about collaboration with the universe, with your own subconscious, and with the energy of generosity that Buddhists have practiced for centuries. You don't need to prove your worthiness to receive. You only need to believe it and then act from it. So the next time you reach into your pocket and feel those cloves, remember, you are not just holding a spice. You are holding a statement, a declaration that you are open, that you are ready, that you no longer confuse scarcity with safety, that you are willing to live in alignment with abundance, not as a dream, but as a daily practice. And perhaps most beautifully of all, you are remembering that wealth, true wealth, is not something we chase. It's something we become. Section 3. The key, symbol of new beginnings. If garlic is the shield and cloves are the magnet, then the key is the invitation. It is the moment we say yes to possibility. A key, unlike the previous two objects, is explicitly symbolic in nearly every culture on Earth. It exists to open, to grant access, to offer entry, to begin. While garlic clears and cloves call in, the key responds with action. It becomes the threshold through which transformation passes. And yet, so many people today are walking through life without ever realizing that they've been holding the key to their next chapter the entire time. In Buddhist philosophy, particularly in Zen and Mahayana traditions, the image of the key has been used for centuries as a metaphor for wisdom. The key to awakening, the key to liberation, the key to non-attachment. It represents the mind that unlocks illusion. It also represents courage, the willingness to walk through doors that were once feared or misunderstood. But in our daily lives, keys take on even more layered meaning. They are personal, specific, tangible. Whether it's the key to a house, a locker, a diary, or a safe, each one carries a private association. And in spiritual practice, we can anchor that association intentionally. In this section, we'll explore how a key can become your most powerful object of transformation, not because it opens any particular door in the outer world, but because it helps unlock something sacred within you. The key as a sacred symbol in Buddhist and cultural wisdom. Let's begin with a lesser-known story from ancient Greece, where spiritual symbolism and Buddhist values often overlap. In Eleusinian mystery traditions, bronze keys were worn around the necks of initiates. These weren't practical tools. They didn't open chests or buildings. They were metaphysical tools, representing access to the inner mysteries of life, death, rebirth, and awakening. In this ancient practice, to wear a key was to declare, "I am ready to be entrusted with the sacred." This sentiment echoes in Buddhist tradition. In early Zen literature, enlightenment is often described as the opening of a locked door, one that previously seemed invisible or impossible to pass. The koan, or riddle, what is the sound of one hand clapping, is itself a metaphorical lock. The answer is not intellectual, it is experiential. The moment of realization is the turn of the key. So when you carry a key with conscious intention, you're not merely holding a metallic object. You're carrying access. You're carrying trust. You're carrying the potential for radical change. You're telling life, I am no longer waiting to be chosen, I choose myself. A story from Seoul, the artist and the family key. Let me share a story with you. It begins in the back streets of Insadong, a historic cultural district in Seoul, South Korea. There, a young woman named Hana lived above a small art studio she could barely afford. She was a painter, but not yet a professional one. For years, she had painted in secret, in silence, hiding her dreams beneath the duties of a strict household and a demanding job. Then one night, after a long phone call with her grandmother, Hana received a parcel. Inside was an old brass key tied with a faded green ribbon. It had belonged to her great-grandfather, who once traveled Korea teaching calligraphy and philosophy. With the key came a note, for what comes next. Hana didn't know what the key had once opened, but something about it stirred her spirit. She began wearing it around her neck, tucked beneath her clothes, close to her heart. Each morning, she would hold it for a moment before she painted, and each night she would place it beneath her pillow, whispering her intention into it. I am ready for opportunity. I am ready to be seen. Weeks passed. Then a cafe owner stumbled across her sketches and offered to hang them on his wall. One of the patrons bought a piece, then another. Then a gallery curator noticed her work and asked if she'd submit to a local exhibit. 3 months later, Hana opened her first solo show. When she was interviewed by a local arts magazine, she was asked, "What changed?" She smiled and said simply, "The key reminded me that I was already unlocked." The ritual, creating your personal key charm. Now it's your turn. If you want to work with the key as a spiritual object, one that embodies new beginnings, decision-making, and inner access, there's a simple but profound ritual you can perform. It combines energetic symbolism, color theory, and affirmation work. Here's how to do it. 1. Find your key. You can use an old house key, a vintage key you find at a thrift shop, or a new blank key from the hardware store. Choose the one that feels right. This key should represent something meaningful to you, something you want to open or unlock. 2. Choose the right color. If possible, go for a silver or gold key. These colors across cultures are associated with wealth, clarity, and divine energy. Silver represents reflection, intuition, and lunar wisdom. Gold represents abundance, radiance, and solar power. 3. Add a green ribbon. Cut a short piece of green ribbon or thread. Green in color therapy symbolizes hope, prosperity, growth, and the heart chakra, Anahata. It connects you to renewal and expansion. 4. Tie 3 knots. Wrap the green ribbon around the key and tie 3 knots. As you tie each one, say aloud, "First knot, I open to clarity. Second knot, I open to abundance. Third knot, I open to opportunity." The number 3 holds power across many spiritual lineages. Buddhism's 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the triple gem, and the 3 acts of intention, action, and result. Carry it or wear it. Keep your key in your pocket, around your neck, or near your workspace. It doesn't matter where, as long as you can feel its presence daily. It should become part of your energetic field. 6. Place it under your pillow at night. Before you sleep, hold the key in your hands and visualize a specific door opening. It could be a career breakthrough, a conversation, a healing, or a dream. Let yourself feel it happening. Then say, "I trust the doors meant for me will open." Place the key under your pillow and let your subconscious begin to collaborate. The psychology of physical anchors. You may wonder, why all this focus on a key? Because our brains respond to physical objects far more than abstract concepts. This is why religious items, wedding rings, military medals, and even childhood teddy bears carry so much emotional resonance. In behavioral psychology, these objects are known as anchors. They activate stored emotions, intentions, and habits. When we pair them with daily rituals, we reinforce the neural pathways associated with belief, confidence, and receptivity. A key, therefore, becomes more than a metaphor. It becomes a trigger, a mental cue that says, "I am not stuck, I am entering." In Buddhism, this parallels the practice of mudra, symbolic hand gestures, or mantra repetition. The physical and the energetic work in harmony to create momentum. The key as a mirror of readiness. The most important part of this practice is not what the key opens, but what it reveals. Every time you touch the key, you are being asked, are you ready to receive what you say you want? Are you willing to leave behind the room you've outgrown? Are you brave enough to trust the next threshold? Because the truth is, some people don't walk through the door because it's locked. They don't walk through because they're not ready for what's on the other side. The key helps you cultivate readiness. You may not know what awaits, but you are declaring that your heart is open. This alone changes the field around you. Bringing Buddhist perspective, the mind as a gate. The Buddha once said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." What he meant is that we experience life through the gates of perception. These gates, called ayatana, are like mental doors. They determine how we filter experience, memory, possibility. When you hold a key as a symbolic object, you are not unlocking something outside of you. You are opening these internal gates. You are saying, "I allow clarity. I allow peace. I allow flow." That is why this practice is not about control. It is about surrender to readiness. It is not about forcing a result. It is about tuning your vibration to what is already aligned. Nighttime visualization. Practice with the key. One of the most potent times to work with the key is before sleep. This is when the brain transitions into theta waves, the state most conducive to suggestion and visualization. Each night before bed, hold your key in both hands and bring it close to your chest. Visualize the most powerful, nourishing outcome of your current desire. Don't obsess about how, just feel it. Say, "This door is already open to me." Place the key under your pillow. Repeat this for 7 nights. Journal what shifts, big or small. Many people report unexpected phone calls, surprise job offers, spontaneous ideas, or simply a clearer sense of direction. The key doesn't create the opportunity. You do. The key just invites your awareness to see it. A word of caution: don't wait for the key to work. One of the biggest mistakes people make with spiritual tools is waiting for them to work. They treat them like superstitious vending machines. Press a button, wait for results. But that is not the purpose. The garlic doesn't block negativity unless you engage your boundaries. The cloves don't call in wealth unless you cultivate openness and gratitude. And the key doesn't unlock anything unless you are willing to walk through. You are not here to wait. You are here to choose, to declare, to prepare yourself. Because when the door opens, it's already too late to get ready. Let the key teach you to walk in readiness. Final reflections on the key. The most sacred doors we walk through are not made of wood or metal. They are made of decision. They are made of devotion. They are made of the willingness to let go of what's behind and trust what lies ahead. When you carry a key with intention, you are telling your life, I am done knocking. I am here to enter. And that's where everything begins. Are you ready to hold the key? Are you ready to say yes to the next chapter? If so, pick it up, tie the ribbon, make the knots, say the words, and walk toward the door with your heart wide open. Because this time, it's not just any door, it's yours. Section 4, collective rituals and community energy. Up to this point, we've explored the personal power of simple objects. Garlic to protect your energy, cloves to invite abundance, and the key to awaken opportunity. Each of these tools is intimate, a one-on-one dialogue between your intention and the energy of the universe. But in Buddhism, no practice exists in isolation. No awakening occurs in a vacuum. We are relational beings. And our spiritual practices, no matter how individual they feel, always ripple outward. That's why in this section, we turn our attention to something just as sacred, but often overlooked in modern life: the power of collective rituals and community energy. Because while a garlic clove in your pocket might shift your day, when dozens or hundreds of people do it together, something entirely different emerges. Something stronger, something alive. This is the mystery and the medicine of the Sangha, the spiritual community. And to begin, let me take you to the highlands of Bhutan. A story from Bhutan. The New Year's clove fire high in the eastern Himalayas lies a village named Jakar, nestled in the Bumthang Valley of Bhutan. This isn't a place you find on tourist lists or Instagram reels. It's quiet, ancient, steeped in rhythm, myth, and mindfulness. Every year, on the first full moon of the Lunar New Year, the villagers gather around a large communal fire just beyond the temple walls. Each family brings with them a handful of items, usually dry herbs, rice grains, dried flowers, and most importantly, 7 whole cloves. Children laugh as they toss their offerings into the flames. Elders chant softly. Monks from the nearby monastery ring small bells in slow, steady rhythm. As the cloves burn, a thick, fragrant smoke rises. The air becomes heavy with sweetness. Everyone remains silent for several minutes, each person silently offering prayers not only for themselves, but for the prosperity of the entire village. The ritual is called Pima Zur. Loosely translated, it means seeding the flame. When asked why they burn cloves, one elder responded, because cloves are sweet, and may our relationships remain sweet. May our land give sweet fruit. May our thoughts stay sweet even when storms come. The ritual ends with shared tea, laughter, and the kind of quiet joy that comes from a community in alignment. And here's what's fascinating. Over the years, this village has consistently enjoyed healthy crops, cooperative leadership, and communal peace. While neighboring regions have battled political infighting or ecological hardship, Jakar remains whole. Is it the cloves? Of course not in isolation. It's the collective energy. It's the harmony of shared intention. It's the invisible architecture of belief that, when reinforced by community, becomes reality. The science behind collective ritual. Modern science is just beginning to understand what ancient traditions have known for thousands of years, that when people gather with a shared purpose, their nervous systems sync, their breath synchronizes, their heart rates begin to align. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's measurable. In studies conducted on meditation groups, researchers found that group meditation not only calmed participants, but also decreased crime rates in the surrounding areas. Other research on collective chanting or prayer has shown reductions in stress hormones and increased oxytocin, the bonding chemical. This phenomenon is known as entrainment. When you participate in a shared ritual, lighting a candle, chanting a mantra, offering a clove into a fire, you're not just performing a gesture. You're merging your energy field with those around you. And together you create a frequency that none of you could access alone. It's like a choir, one voice is beautiful, but 50 voices in harmony stirs something ancient in the bones. In Buddhism, this is the principle of interbeing. We are not separate, we rise together. And when we practice together, we amplify. By now, you've heard stories of protection, of prosperity, of possibility. You've learned how a simple garlic clove, quiet and pungent, can act as a silent guardian against the invisible energies that weigh us down. You've witnessed how cloves, no larger than a fingernail, can become powerful anchors of gratitude and abundance. And you've felt the shift that occurs when we carry a key, not just to open physical doors, but to access the unseen thresholds of our own lives. We've walked through each of these practices together, object by object, story by story, breath by breath. But what matters now is not what you've learned, it's what you choose to remember. Because these teachings, like seeds, don't bloom until they're nurtured, and their power isn't in their novelty, but in their repetition. And thank you for being part of this community, this Sangha, where ancient wisdom is still alive, where everyday objects still carry power, and where your intention still matters. New Day Mindfulness exists because of souls like you, souls who are willing to explore, reflect, and rise. So wherever you are right now, may you feel held, may you feel seen, may you feel ready, because you are. We'll see you in the next practice. And until then, may your garlic protect you, your cloves enrich you, and your key open every door that was already yours.